Okay, class, in this video we're going to take a look at our upper arterial system, and in doing so some of this can be a little confusing, so I thought that I would do some of my wonderful drawings to see if I could give you a little bit more reference, because in dissecting this specimen I have noticed some variations. So if you remember back to when we did the cardiovascular system, in humans we see in the upper arterial system, we see the aortic arch that comes out of the left ventricle. It's going to curve over and it's going to head down toward the lower body. Off of that arch, in humans, we have three branches, 1, 2, and 3. The first one is the brachiocephalic. So again, if you remember, brachio is arm, cephalic is head. This is going to take blood up to the head and out to the arm. And it's a very short vessel before it branches. It is going to branch off into the right subclavian, going out to the arm underneath the clavicle, and it is going to go up to the head via the right common carotid. Our second branch is the left common carotid, and it is going to go up individually by itself up to the head. And then just the next branch just off here is going to be the left subclavian. It is going to take blood down to the left arm underneath the clavicle. Now, when we look at felines, if we look at cats, there's a slight variation. And what you'll typically see, and most of you will find this somewhat easily, and once you do, it's easy to identify. One of the problems you're going to run into, and I'll show you this when I get to the specimen, is that the venous system lays right over top, and it's kind of hard to find this. You have to really dig in and sort of separate some tissues and get the veins lifted up off of the arteries so that you can see them, because they do lie a little more deep. So same as in humans, we have the aortic arch progressing down to the lower body. But in felines, we only have two branches. Okay? We still have the brachiocephalic, but rather than the left common carotid coming off itself right here, we see that it branches. The brachiocephalic is going to branch 3 ways instead of 2. So we have the right subclavian and the right and left common carotids. And then you have another individual branch for the left subclavian that goes off down the left arm. It kind of looks, once you get in there, it kind of looks like a chicken's foot with 3 prongs that go off of the brachiocephalic. All right? And once you get in there, it's pretty easy to find. You will have to separate out some things in order to get there. Now, I did need to make note on this particular specimen, a couple of things. It's not uncommon to see some variation between specimens, especially in the cardiovascular system. There is some slight deviation from what is normal. So what we're going to see is the aortic arch going into the aorta, and rather than 3 branches, we have the left common carotid that's going to come off fairly early. It almost is its own branch, but it does come off of the brachiocephalic right at the base where it separates from the aortic arch. And then a little bit higher up, you're going to see the right subclavian and right common carotid. So just thought I'd make note that that is a variation in this specimen than what you normally see. So we'll go ahead and take a look at what we have here. All right, so in this specimen we have the lungs here. I've actually removed them. They're in place now, but they have been cut, and you'll see down here at the base, you can see where the bronchial tubes come in. You can see some vessels, the pulmonary vessels that come into and out of the lungs. All right, and you can sort of see openings here as well as it goes into each lobe of the lung. Now, with this, we have the heart lies right in the middle, and what I've done is on top of the heart we have this membrane. Okay, this is covering the heart in order to keep some fluid in there. And what we have here is the pericardium. All right, and I have removed the top part of this. Actually, very thick, very strong, and I've removed it so we can see the aorta. And what we have here is the aorta. You have a small bit of it that actually goes up. It's called the ascending aorta, and it is going to arch over. So here's your aortic arch before it comes down to the descending aorta. And what you'll find is this runs along the esophagus, which is right here, really close to the spine. You'll see it goes all the way down until it goes through the diaphragm. All right. So as mentioned, we have a branch here, and this is your brachiocephalic. I'm going to zoom in real quick, see if I can't get a little bit better view of that and focus. And so we have one branch right here. This is the brachiocephalic. Here's your left common carotid. As I mentioned, it comes off very early. This is much earlier than it normally does. Okay. And then if we get our veins out of the way, actually I'm going to move them up, you'll see that the brachiocephalic comes up here. It's a little bit longer than normal in this specimen. And you'll see that there's a branch here and a branch that goes up here. So this is the right subclavian, and it's going to go down to the arm. This is not the best specimen because the latex hasn't filled it completely, and you'll find that yours may have a little bit better latex filling in it. And then the left common carotid is going to go up toward the neck. You'll see that up here it has actually been cut a little bit, and there's some latex that you can see there. Okay. So there is the blood supply going out to the right arm and up to the head in both of your common carotids. All right. And then our next branch we see here, this is your left subclavian. And the left subclavian is going to come up here, and this one actually is going to go under the clavicle, which has been removed. And you'll see a little bit better, move up just a little bit here, a little bit further along you can follow this. So as it goes out to the arm, it is going to have some branches. You'll see a couple of things come off, minor things that usually are going to supply the rib cage and a little bit more up in the shoulder. So there is your left subclavian. So I'll zoom back out just a little bit here so we can get a little bit more of a view and review that one more time real quick. So heart, off of the left ventricle, which is deep inside, we have the aorta. Aorta arches over to the descending aorta, which heads down to supply the lower body further down. Off of that, your two branches are your brachiocephalic and your left subclavian. The brachiocephalic is going to branch here prematurely into the left common carotid, and then a little bit higher up here we will have the right subclavian and the right common carotid.